So tonight, let me pull this back a little bit. Hey, stop this. My cat is also doing the most. I think you gotta go shadow. Come on now. Just stop. Hey everybody, this is Javi, and you are watching Bedtime Stories with Javi. How are you? Turn this around here. So, how is everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing all right. For those who do not know me, I'm a psychic, intuitive medium, and author, and who specializes in inner child therapy. And one way to tap into our inner child and to have fun doing so is by reading bedtime stories. It's a very therapeutic thing for me. Some other people, a lot of us rather. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Kane. So that is what we're going to be doing tonight as far as bedtime stories. We're going to be doing that tonight. And for those who would like to, I do this every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So if you are interested in finding more videos, watching more videos, I do this every week. Subscribe to the channel. I would also like to know if you have any books available or, book ideas, right? That you would like me to look into. I just ask that the titles that you send me are by authors who are from marginalized and colonized communities, or it centers around the characters are marginalized and colonized folks, because this is also about representation. And so tonight we're going to be reading The Bat Boy and His Violin by Gavin Curtis. And so I'm really excited to get into this. Hey, how you doing? So I'm really really excited to get into this, right? So this is The Bat Boy and His Violin. And hey to the folks who are here. I really appreciate your energy. And because this book is long enough, I'm going to go ahead and read it just once, and I can just put the replay up for people to watch, okay? So, I sashay my bow across the violin strings, the way a mosquito skims a summer pond. With hardly any mistakes, Chvalsky fills the room of our house on Tyler Road. When the back door slams and metal cleats stomp onto the kitchen floor, I know Papa is home. Is Reginald at it again? He shouts between notes. Hush up, Mama says. I just love this one. Cooped up inside all the time, it's a wonder that boy don't sprout mushrooms. I try to play louder than Papa's voice by sawing the music hard. He sometimes comes home in a bad mood because he's the manager of the Dukes, the worst teams in the Negro National League. So far, the 1948 season has been the toughest yet. Papa's even having trouble booking games the team is likely to lose. He says it's because all his best hitters and fielders are going over to play for white teams, the way Jackie Robinson did last year. I know our baby wants to be in a famous orchestra someday, Mama says. Or I'm saying, let me read that one more time. You know our baby wants to be in a famous orchestra someday, Mama says, following Papa into the living room. Well, right now the Dukes could use a bat boy, and I think it'll do Reginald some good to get out of the house. We'll get him a uniform and everything. I stopped playing. What about my practice? I asked. Don't you remember I have a recital next month in the basement at church? You can rehearse between innings. Tenors of bats don't take up a whole lot of time. Papa pretends to swing one at an invisible pitch. Anyway, you do a good job, and I'll let you have your fiddle recital right here. I smile because our living room is bigger than the church basement. I prefer to call it a violin, I say. Papa doesn't hear. He's too busy admiring the trophy cabinet. Heck, Papa says, this might even inspire you to become a ball player the way your old man was. The next morning, I ride with Papa and the Dukes to Cleveland on the team's rickety old bus. We get to the field for our game against the Buckeyes, and the bleachers are already packed with their fans. Mr. Forrest, the shortstop, is the first one up. I want to do a good job, so I bring him 6 bats to choose from. It's too many, and they roll out of my hands and make Mr. Forrest stumble like he's skating on ice. He lands flat on his backside, making the crowd howl like they've just seen a circus clown performance. One at a time, boy! Papa's face is all crinkled. Mr. Forrest gets up and misses the ball 3 times. Nobody else falls, but the next 2 outs come quickly. The Dukes take the field, and I notice some bats are scuffed from Mr. Forrest's cleats. I remember the polish I use on my violin, and I buff the bats clean with a towel until they shine. I lean them with the others evenly in a row against the fence, standing beside them ready for when it's the Duke's turn to bat again, praying nothing more goes wrong. Starting to get the hang of it, ain't you? Papa says. Yep, I say, rocking the heel toe to toe and heel to rocking heel to toe and toe to heel. Mr. Mosley, the third baseman, tips his hat because I hand him a bat. When he swings at the pitch, the bat slips out of his hand and misses the umpire's head by no more than an inch. I'll pass out the bats, Papa said, after the umpire has calmed down. Papa grumbles under his breath because the umpire makes him rub dirt on each bat. Can I help? I asked. Why don't you relax a spell on the bench? It'll give you a chance to fiddle. You mean violin. Just keep it low. Lord knows I don't need nothing making my headache worse. Papa takes his cap off and uses it to wipe sweat off his face. I play Swan Lake the way I feel, sad and quiet. But I'm not clumsy with my violin. I'm careful, glancing only one time at the music I know by heart. In the last measure, I pull my bow slowly to hold the final note long. That sure was something pretty, said Mr. LaRue, the center fielder who was waiting on deck. Kind of make the hairs on the back of my neck do a jig. Thank you, I said, a little embarrassed that anyone had listened. You're up, Mr. LaRue, Papa says. His headache must have disappeared because a smile crosses his face. How about doing a jig with that bat and getting a hit? As Mr. LaRue steps up to the plate, I start to play again. He lets the first pitch go past him, but swings hard on the next. Run! Papa yells because Mr. LaRue sends the ball towards the outfield. Before he can reach first base, the ball leaves the park. He takes his time and does a kind of hop around the field while I play until he gets back to home plate. Mr. Irvin, the catcher, bats next, and I play Mozart, and the same thing happens again. It happens with the left fielder, the second baseman, and the third baseman, too. I'm bushed by the ninth inning, but the Dukes had beaten the Buckeyes 7-4. It's the first game they win in months. Ain't this a talented boy? Papa said and massages my arm instead of the pitcher's. Each day, I like being the Bat Boy more than the last. Papa handles the bats and he lets me play my violin as much as I want. Besides that, the Dukes had stopped losing. I hadn't seen Papa this happy since he was a player. 3 weeks into our winning streak, Papa makes an important announcement. We got us a game with the Monarchs. I'm the only one not cheering. So I ask, are they any good? Any good, he says. Wow, they're the best colored team there is. I thought we were, I say. But if we beat the Monarchs, we will be. Folks are saying now that baseball is becoming integrated. The Negro Leagues won't be around forever. The season is coming to an end, and this might be the Duke's last chance to make a real mark, make a name for ourselves. Papa lifts me onto his shoulder. Good thing we got us a gifted little boy bat, or Bat Boy. The night before the big game, Papa can't find a hotel in town that will accept the Dukes. We don't exactly cotton to colors sleeping in our beds, one clerk says. Y'all gonna have to look elsewheres. Thank you kindly, just the same, Papa says, tipping his hat. I reckon our bus would do us fine. We park on the field outside the stadium, and Mr. LaRue grills catfish and corn on the cob. After dinner, fancying their chances of winning a pennant makes the team too jittery to sleep. So I play them a lullaby Mama sometimes hums to me before bed. Reginald, Papa said when the sound of snores joined the sound of crickets, you got a knack. That fool clerk should have heard your pretty feeling. Violining, I tell Papa before falling asleep on his belly. The next day, the sun is high and little shade can be found once the game had gone into extra innings. I played my best, but nothing seems to work. At least not for the Dukes. I played Beethoven, and Mr. Forrest and Mr. Mosley both hit balls that seemed to fly right back into the pitcher's glove. I played Mozart, and Mr. LaRue is tagged out at home. But when I played Bach, when the game tied, 2 out, and Papa very nervous, Mr. O'Neill from the Monarchs knocks a high curling wallop into deep left field. I stopped playing just in time to see the ball easily clear the fence. The Dukes lose 18-17. Thank you so much for coming, Mia Mia. I really appreciate your energy. The team congratulates the Monarchs and heads for the showers. No one says anything when they walk past me. Papa looks sad as he gathers up the equipment. I want to help him, but I go straight to the bus and sit instead, wondering if the church basement is still available for my recital. Son, Papa finally says on the quiet ride home, play something happy. He takes the violin down from the baggage rack and hands it to me. We could use a little cheering up. I was afraid you wouldn't like my music anymore. I twist the pegs and make sure it's tuned. Of course, I still like your music. Papa sits in the seat and puts me on his lap. It sure helped us a lot further than I thought we could without our best players. Shoot, when I shut my big mouth and listen, I loved what I heard. I love you though, most of all. I love you though, most of all. Win or lose, Negro leagues or not, ain't no ball game ever gonna change that. I love you too, Papa. I hug him and then play the minute waltz over and over again. A week later, baseball season is over, and at last I perform my recital. The only sound heard through our house on Tyler Road is the softness of the Schubert sonata with no mistakes. Mama, Papa, the Dukes, and their wives fill the first four rows of our crowded living room. You folks must be right proud of Reginald, I hear Mr. LaRue whisper. He sure plays a powerful fiddle. Papa smiles and put his arms around Mama. Sure does, he says, except we prefer to call it a violin. The end. So that is the end of the Bat Boy and his violin, and so that was a beautiful story. It really was. Um, yeah, I'll definitely like to. This is definitely a book. Someone actually requested that I do a video on books to buy for Christmas, and this is one of them that I will definitely recommend because it's not only historical. It mentions a few times the Negro League, um, and we actually had our own baseball league before integration, and so that's a historical thing to actually do some research on. But I love the fact that this black boy was encouraged to play the violin and to pursue music. So this is just a it's a beautiful this is definitely a beautiful book, and I would recommend it for folks who would like to buy books for their kids on Christmas. So how's everyone doing? I meant to ask that, and I was like in a hurry to like get started because it was like 8 o'clock, and I felt like I was being late. So how is everyone doing? How is everybody's week? Especially with the weather change and everything that's going on. I hope everyone is doing all right. If you resonate with that story or like that story in any way, shape, or form, please click on the like button. Let people know that I'm here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can also subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss another storytime video. Also, I take donations for the books, and like shout out to the folks who are donating, because if it weren't for y'all, I wouldn't have been able to get this book and many others that I've purchased so far. So I definitely take donations for the books that I read every week. So I'll definitely send that information to you in regards to that. I take PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. So just ask me for that information. Um, yeah, so Mia says, so inspiring. Nice to hear a story that's heartfelt. Yeah, that's what we, and like that is required. That's what we need in these trying times. Like stories that are very heartfelt and very uplifting. Um, and shows that, like the power of music and black boy magic and in history. So yeah, like I really enjoyed it. Um, But yeah, like let people know that I'm here, and let people know that I'm here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I will put the replay on for those who missed it. I will put the replay up for the general public, and I'll post it, where people can see it. But yeah, I will definitely love for you to like send more books my way as far as titles, and I will do everything I can to find those titles. Um, and yeah, that's it. That's it. So thank you again for sharing your energy with me. I really appreciate it. Um, until next week, I will see y'all later on. I hope y'all have a good rest of the night. Okay. All right. Peace. See y'all later. See y'all